Hey there everybody, it's Mike DeLisio, and today I'm going to be reviewing R.A.V.E.L. This is part of an initial run of games from publisher Impatience, probably best known for the R.A.V.E.L series of games. This is a new line that is even smaller boxed games, and they are definitely going for the solo gamers with this one because this is a solo only game. Very puzzly. Let's head over to the table, I'll show you how it plays, and then I'll come back here and let you know what I think. All right, here we see R.A.V.E.L, and this is one of those games where the rules are so simple. The best way to do an overview is just to play through a few rounds. And so the way it's going to work is you start off with 8 of these Tinker tokens. You have this little grid here, and then you've got 16 cards that are in 4 stacks of 4. We're going to flip over the top of each of these 4 stacks. Okay, and then there are going to be some dice. What they say to do is to just put them in the box, kind of mix them around, pick one randomly, roll it, and put it in the upper left, and then just do that for the rest of the dice. So we're going to do this, just grabbing dice randomly and rolling them. Okay, and now we got another one. Okay, and then we got another one. Boom, boom, boom. Wow, we're rolling really high here. And we got another one, and we got that, and then we got our last 2 dice. And that's going to be, wow, 6s are everywhere. My goodness. Okay, so at this point, you are pretty much done with setup and you're ready to go. What you're trying to do in the game is you're trying to clear out all of the cards, all 16 of these cards. And you're doing so by fulfilling conditions that are on the top of these cards. All right, so for example, this card that was on the left is saying that for the dice that face this card, so for each card, they're only going to be referring to the dice that face them. So for this card, it's these 3 dice, top card is these 3, that's for those, okay? If you can fulfill the condition at the top, then you can get a benefit at the bottom, okay? And those benefits are always going to be optional. You don't have to take those benefits, but you oftentimes are going to want to, all right? And so sometimes you may luck out and have a situation where just in the way that the dice came out, you're able to fulfill a particular card. So for example, this one is saying to have 3 dice of different colors that are facing. And so in this case, we already have those. We've got a white, a black, and a blue. So we can fulfill this one right now. We can take this card and we can immediately get the benefit. In this case, it's to gain 2 Tinker tokens. Well, we started with 8 here, but there were 4 that were left out. And so now we've got 2 more. So one of the things you can do on your turn is unlock a card. That's what I just did. I fulfilled the requirements on the card, chose if I wanted to take the bonus or not. We'll flip over the next card. Now there are 3 in this. The other thing you can do is you can tinker, which means you can use one of the abilities on these tokens. So for 1, you can spend 1 Tinker token to swap any 2 adjacent dice, okay, orthogonally adjacent dice. Or you can spend 2 to choose any die and set it to whatever face you want. So let's look at this card, for example. This card is saying that you have to have the 3 dice facing it be of values 4, 5, or 6. You do not mean, this does not mean you have to have all 3 of those values or in any particular order, just that every die here has to be of a value 4 or higher. And if you have questions about that, all of the COG cards have more explanation, more detailed explanation in the small rule book, okay? But that's the case here. Well, right now, we don't fulfill that because we've got a 6 and a 4, which is great, but we've got that 2, which is not above 4. However, we spend one of these Tinker tokens, boom, we swap these 2 dice, and now we've got this card fulfilled. We've unlocked this card. We can take that benefit, which in this case is move 1 of the cards from one pile to another pile if we wanted to. So perhaps there would be a thing that you needed to do that would be already fulfilled or easier to fulfill on another card. All right, that's the idea. You are going to either be using your Tinker tokens, 1 to swap, 2 to set the face, or you're going to be unlocking these cards by trying to maneuver the dice so that they fulfill the conditions on top, getting the benefits on the bottom. You win the game if you clear out all 16 of the cards. You lose the game if you ever at the beginning of your turn cannot do one or the other things. You can't unlock a card and you can't spend a Tinker token. There are ways to adjust the difficulty. To make it easier, you can just start the game with more than 8 of those Tinker tokens, or you can add in, to make it harder, these advanced cards. And you can do this in a random way or in a controlled way. The number of the cards that you swap are going to make it more and more hard. So the more of these you put in with the initial cards, you'll still keep it to 16, but the more of these you put in, the harder it's going to get. All right, that's the basics. Let's head back and I'll let you know what I think. All right, well, there you have it. It's very rare that in an overview I can essentially just start playing the game, play a couple of rounds of it, and that really works best as an overview for the game, because the actual rules of the game are very slight. I mean, there's one of 2 things you can do on your turn, and most often you're going to be just trying to complete the objectives on those cards. A lot of times what's great is that when you do complete an objective, it gives you a bonus that allows you to complete another one, so you can do a little bit of chaining. And then beyond that, you're going to be manipulating the dice once in a while with those Tinker tokens, but trying not to depend upon them too much, so that you're not in a position where you're kind of hamstrung. And so as far as the components, we'll talk about that a little bit. As I showed you, a very small box. The the cardboard components, of which there are not many, are very thick, very high quality. The dice are mini D6s, but they are very, very good to roll. You're only going to be rolling them during setup. Everything is good. The card quality is good. Absolutely no complaints with the quality of the production, especially for a game that is coming out in the smaller size, smaller price point, things along those lines. As far as the gameplay, this is really going to be something where it's going to depend upon your preference for puzzly type solo games or not. This is purely a puzzle game. And I like that central puzzle. How much you enjoy that dice manipulation, kind of the order of the cards, because you're always going to be able to see what the 4 objectives are at any one time, and you're going to be able to see what the benefits are. And so much of the game comes down to, how can I chain these in such a way that I can complete one card, and that's going to allow me to potentially complete 1 or even 2 other cards kind of concurrently. And so being able to set things up for future turns is a satisfying thing when you're able to pull it off. It's not the widest decision space in the world, okay? You've got only 4 cards that you are working with at any given time. Sometimes the necessities to complete the cards are very similar, and sometimes with one swap of a die, using just one of your Tinker tokens, you can fulfill 2 different cards at one time. And so being able to do things like that, how much that is satisfying to you as a solo gamer is really going to determine how much you enjoy the game. It's not the deepest game. It's not a game that is going to really break your brain unless you start to really incorporate those advanced cards. And so that is something that I think is a benefit to the game, is that while the core game may be pretty easy to pull off, I don't struggle too much with just playing the standard mode of the game. You know, I have lost it before, but I've won it much more than I've lost it. It's relatively easy, but the number and the way that you incorporate those advanced cards make it a very, very easy to tailor difficulty level for you, where you are feeling challenged, but you're not feeling like you have no chance. And so I think that's important in a game like this as well. Not a whole lot to say. It's a small box game, a relatively small decision space, a pretty simple puzzle at heart. It works for me though. I'm giving this a 7.5. I absolutely enjoy what it does with the economy of components. There's not a whole lot here. This is not taking up a lot of table space. This is one you really could legitimately play on a plain tray table, okay? It's a very small table space. It's something you can play just about anywhere, and it's relatively breezy unless you want to make it a really challenging exercise by adding in those cards. For me, this is a game that I use when I kind of want to unwind, when I want to relax a little bit, and just kind of play through a few little puzzles, get those 16 cards completed, and then, you know, either play another little filler game, or it could be something to warm you up, I suppose, for a bigger game as well. But all in all, a really solid game, lovely little production, satisfying puzzle, 7.5. That is R.A.V.E.L. All right, well, that's going to do it for me. This is Mike DeLisio. I will see you on the next one.
Hey everybody, thanks for watching this video. If you like this review or whatever you just watched, wasn't it amazing? Check out our channel, Dice Tower. We have all kinds of things. We review games, we do top 10s, we play games live. It's all about board games, but especially the people who play them. Check out Dice Tower YouTube channel.